helped me about this whole thing is that sometimes God will allow the things to defeat you, but at the same time show you that they can't defeat him. Oh, that's a horrible thing to watch. Woo! When God shows you, it's beating you down. You're the one that's addicted. You're the one that's in trouble. You're the one that's in deliverance. I got this. My power has not waned. It's because you're trying to do it in your own strength. You're trying to manipulate, control, and manage this thing. And so I'm going to let you do what you do. And I'm going to stand right here and watch. And I want you to know it does not have me. And this is the thing this is how God will do it. Some of you that have kids, boy, this is how God will show you that thing. You'll see the very thing. See that Ichabod situation? Because that's what it does. It births that same thing that you were struggling with. Sometimes it births that in your own children's lives. And then what God will do is crazy. God will allow you to be delivered because you've gotten to the place where you're not manipulated anymore. And God will let them, you'll have to watch them struggle with it. Has anybody ever seen that same attitude, that same behavior, that same problem that you wrestle with, that you struggle with? It comes back in your kid. And they can be 2 or 3 and you can see it in them. Oh, and I don't have any kids. I'm a very observant person. And I said, oh, that is exactly what happens. That person, and God is like, see? I just want to remind you that it was my power. And then you have to watch your kid struggle and strain and fight to wait till they surrender to God and stop trying to manipulate and control the situation themselves. That's crazy. But God will allow that to happen. Just, sometimes as a reminder to say to you, hey, wait a minute. This is my program. I'm the one that possesses you. You don't possess me. And some people, you get confused. It's real. So it happens very slightly. Where we get to manipulate and think we're going to do what God, we want to do with God. We're going to put God up on the shelf and then we're going to take God down when we want to use him. And God's, oh no. No. At some point I'm going to have to make you recognize that I am God and that there is no other. So this is the last thing I have to say, and then I'm done. I hope y'all with me. The last one is disrespect of the preparation of God. This is going to be the section that hurts, but you know what? It's all in love. Because we got to go to another level of worship here. The Ark of the Covenant, now people get all upset. How come Uzzah gets struck down? I'm going to tell you why Uzzah gets struck down. Uzzah gets struck down because there are certain preparations that you're supposed to make for the presence and power of God. If you read something, just when you're bored and you need something to go to sleep with, read Deuteronomy and Leviticus. It's just like, why are they talking about how big the ark is, and it was 20 by 40 cubits, and I'm just like, this is real boring. What's the point? But there's usually something good in there. This is where I found when I was reading that. I found that they were supposed to, there are certain people that are assigned to take care of the ark. And that Moses, I got to read this to you, you got to see this. Numbers 7, 6 through 10. So Moses took the carts and the oxen and gave them to the Levites. Those are the ones that are responsible for the altar and the Ark of the Covenant. 2 carts and 4 oxen he gave to the sons of Gershon according to their service, and 4 carts and 8 oxen he gave to the son of Merari according to their service under the authority of Itmar the son of Aaron the priest. But the sons of Kohath he gave none, because theirs was the service of the holy things, which they carried on their shoulders. Now the leaders offered the dedication offering for the offer when it was anointed, so the leaders offered their offering before the altar. So there were all these preparations that are supposed to be made. And the reason why this dude gets struck down is because he probably knows what some of those preparations are. And did you notice that he skipped them? Where's the Ark of the Covenant? Is it on his shoulders? Where's the Ark of the Covenant? On a cart. They purposely did not get carts because they were in charge of the holy things that were supposed to be on their shoulders. Oh, that's so neat. It wasn't supposed to be on no cart. You're supposed to carry the weight of this thing on your shoulders. Lord have mercy. And so Uzzah, he probably knew better. I don't know if he was afraid because it was David. He felt like, I ain't going to say nothing. That's why you got to be undignified. You can't get scared. He probably should have told David, there's a certain way we're supposed to do this thing because we're preparing for the presence of God. Now, you're not a priest, so maybe you don't know. But let me tell you, we're supposed to put this thing on our shoulders. We're not supposed to put this in no cart. He ain't saying nothing. I guess maybe he saw the 30,000 men. He saw King David. Hey, we're going to roll with the program. Sometimes not right. As a prophetic preacher, I will open up my mouth and say, no, it ain't right. That's not of God. I don't care who's in the office. It doesn't matter. That's not God. Some people confused about that. It's just the president. Love him, but it's just the president. Okay, there's a thing between him and Jesus. That's just a little sidebar. I'm getting back on the main program. But Uzzah did not do what he was supposed to do with that ark. And so when it shook and about to fall, some commentators say that basically God was trying to stop the procession. First of all, because David never came to get it with the wrong agenda. Because you see by the text we read next week that we did last week, you see David changed up his whole flow. Instead of the priest being in front of the ark, he's in front of the ark. See, he goes and gets it right. See, then he started doing the offerings. They ain't offered nothing. It already says what they're supposed to do with the holy things. They're supposed to do offerings. They ain't doing nothing. But you see, by the time they get to verse 15, 16, David, when they come back and get that ark, they get it right. They do the right preparations before God. Because when you're preparing to come into the presence of God, there's some preparations internally and externally that have to happen. And if you want to meet this, and it's sad, you know, there's a lot of killings in this thing, in the presence of God. It's almost like God is trying to say, look, it's not that I'm trying to kill you, but understand that I'm holy. I ain't nothing to play with. I'm not part of your agenda. I'm not something for you to possess. You got to make sure that when you're coming to be with me, that you have gotten yourself together. So let me talk about some of the getting together that we need to do internally and externally for a minute, and I'll be done. One of those things that you have to guard your spirit. You have to guard your spirit before you come up in here. One of the things that jack up the frequency is that people come in here 12, 12, 10, 12, 15, 12, 20, 12, 25. And this is how it jacks up. There might be 4 or 5 of us up here. We're in a certain zone. We at a certain level. And every time somebody comes in, the frequency has to adjust. It averages to where you came in at. You understand what I'm saying? Because basically the way worship is supposed to work, by the time it gets to the preaching, the frequency, the energy level in the place is supposed to be up here. That's what helps the word come forth. I'm teaching y'all some background stuff that ain't nobody never told you. Okay, worship starts down here, but when you come in, especially if you prepare before, by praying, by making sure you guard your spirit, that if you got to fight with somebody, if a relationship ain't right, that you get all that together. Because God said, don't come to me and you ain't right with your brethren or your sister. Don't come up in here and worship and you ain't got that stuff right. So you got to get all that stuff right. I mean, seriously, when I have a fight with somebody and we're not speaking, before I come up here on Sunday, I will make that phone call. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not a play, because it's very difficult to adjust to God's frequency if you off. That's why the devil will attack. You have arguments, everything go wrong, the car won't start, all this drama before you on your way to worship. Am I the only one that have experienced that? And so you have to guard your spirit when you're trying to encounter God. Remember, there's life here. There's provision here. There's protection here. There's power here that God is trying to get to you when you come up in this place. And we on Grace, we're just talking about it. There's a certain level of frequency that's generated. There's a certain energy that's generated when a whole bunch of people come together that you can't get by yourself. So that's why it's important for everybody to be here when it's time to go. Because the frequency ain't right. If everybody ain't here, they're supposed to be here. So every time somebody comes in, the frequency drops. We're going like every time it drops. Because you got to come in now, you got to adjust. You got to get in the zone. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like when you're about to go play a game or you're about to go do some sports, whatever, there's a zone you get into so that you can make sure that you're prepared and you can make sure that you're flowing.